Hello students, welcome to another episode of All Force e-learning program. Now in this session we shall have a perception regarding the continuous charge distribution. Actually till date we were talking about point charges. A charge whose size is negligible, very small, charge is at a point, constant at a point. So regarding that aspect we were studying about the charge and its effects. But now in this episode we shall talk about the continuous charge distribution, charge being distributed on bodies around us. For such bodies, how is charge distributed and how does it exhibit the field, its field intensity, etc., etc. So today's our topic is continuous charge distribution. Continuous charge distribution of charges. Now, before going to this, let's have a review of what we have learned earlier. So, I was telling you charge. Charge is the intrinsic property of fundamental particles called electrons and protons. The charge, wherever they exist, the property is accompanied by them and the body gets that property and it exhibits a field around. The space where the effect of the field is felt, the space where you experience the effect of the charge, that is called electric field. Now in this chapter actually we have to study about the charge, its distribution, its field, what is the nature of the field produced and its analytical formula. Right, so field, it is the space around the charge where the effect of the charge is experienced. Field intensity, strength of the field, how strong the field is. The electric field intensity is defined as the force experienced by a unit positive test charge placed at that point. The point where you are finding the electric field. So the force experienced by a unit positive test charge placed at that point gives the electric field intensity at that point. So electric field intensity, later we have studied about the electric field due to point charge. The first and foremost thing we have studied is electric field due to point charge. We got the formula electric field due to point charge is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught charge q by r square. A point charge q at a distance r from it. So the electric field intensity E 1 by 4 pi epsilon q by r square, the magnitude of the electric field. Single charge, isolated point charge. If there are many such point charges around in the field, then what is the net field? Resultant electric field. The resultant electric field at any point due to many charges around within the vicinity, it is the vector sum of all the individual fields produced by every charge. Considering each and every charge, field due to each and every charge, the vector sum of all the things taken together simultaneously. Now that gives you the resultant electric field. According to the principle of superposition, this is E1 bar plus E2 bar plus E3 bar En. Later, we've taken isolated point charge. Later, we have considered the combination of two equal and unequal charges. Equal and unlike charges, opposite charges, a dipole. First, a single charge, later combination of positive and negative, dipole, the effect, its field at different points, all that. Now we shall talk about the charge distribution, right? So let us understand the electric field, how the charge is distributed and how do you find the electric field due to these charges. Now look, so till date we have been talking about the isolated, separate, discrete point charges. Separate point charges. So a charge exiting at a point, let's say positive Q1. Point charge, discrete. And if there is another charge, there is another charge Q2 with some separation between them. Right? Separate charges. And the effect of that, the field due to this. So we were finding the field due to this charge, field due to this charge, vector sum of it like this. But suppose if the charge is distributed continuously if the charge is distributed in the sense, for example, look here, there is a point charge here. At the very next point, there is another charge. Very next point where there is another charge. Actually, there is no separation. They are continuous. So if the charge is continuous like this over a line, continuous line of charge, this is called linear charge, linear charged conductor, right? A linear charge where the charge is distributed continuously over it. Charge, there is no separation. Charge is distributed over its length continuously. Such a charge is called linear charge. Then for such charges, how do you calculate the charge? What is the parameter by which you measure the quantity of that property, and what is the nature of the field, how the field is produced, and what will be the formula for the electric field produced by such charges? So first and foremost charge is linear charge. When I consider a linear charge or a line of charge, example, a charged wire. Suppose let's consider a charged thin rod like this, very thin in the sense the size, radius of the rod is very much negligible when compared to length of the rod. Let's suppose charge is given to it. I am charging it with a charged body. Let's suppose I've got a charged body, I give charge to it by touching it. So there is charge being distributed. So over this, charge is distributed over its length, along the length uniformly. Then such a conductor, linearly charged conductor or linearly charged body. So for such a body, the charge is distributed throughout its length uniformly. Then for such a charge, let the length of this conductor be L and the quantity of charge it possesses be Q. Then the amount of charge possessed by this linear conductor per unit length, per unit distance, now that is defined as linear charge density. It is termed as linear charge density lambda. So you try to understand, this is defined for such charges where the charge is distributed along a line, not in a plane, along a line. Charge distributed along a line, like charge distributed on a wire, a rod, thin rod, charged wire, thin charged cylinder, glass rod, for example, a charged glass rod. Suppose there is a glass rod, if I rub this with silk cloth, then charge is distributed over it, charge is formed over it, and that charge is linearly distributed over it. Linear charge conductor. For such charge conductor where the charge is distributed in one dimension, only along the length, then for such we define a term called the parameter which defines the quantity of charge is linear charge density lambda. It is defined as the amount of charge possessed by it per unit length. Charge per unit length it is. So lambda is equal to the charge contained by Q by L. So lambda is Q by L it is. Right? The amount of charge possessed by it per unit length. Lambda is Q by L. Well, it is now measured in units. This is coulombs. Charge is measured in coulombs. Length in meters. So the SI unit is coulomb per meter. If I take this CGS unit, it is stat coulomb per centimeter. Stat coulomb per centimeter. These are the CGS and SI units of linear charge density. Next, dimensional formula. It is charge in the numerator and length in the denominator. So it is m power 0. Length denominator, when it goes up, it is L minus 1. Right? Charge Q. Charge is not a fundamental quantity. So the dimensional formula for charge is IT. So it is T power 1 I power 1. This is the dimensional formula. And you know, it is a scalar. It has no direction. Charge is distributed over the length. If the length is like this, charge is distributed over this direction. If it is this way, it is this direction. It has got no fixed length, fixed direction. So it's a scalar. So linear charge density of the charged body, linear charge, line of charge, linear charge, charged rod, charged wire, thin wire, charged thin wire, or a thin charged cylinder, thin cylinder, where radius of the cylinder, radius of cross section is very much less when compared to length of the cylinder. For all such things we define linear charge lambda is linear charge density. Density is the measure of the amount of property per unit space. Anything, anywhere we define density of anything, population density, the number of people over a particular area. So the amount of the quantity of the property per unit space, in this case we are defining length, linear space, that is length. So charge per unit length. So lambda is equal to Q by L. So cross multiplying, if its linear charge density is lambda and its length is L, then the amount of charge possessed Q is lambda L. The linear charge density, for such bodies linearly, where the charge is distributed linearly like this, we define linear charge density. So the quantity of charge, what is the amount of the charge possessed by the body Q? Now that amount of charge Q can be given as lambda into L, where lambda is its linear charge density, L is the length of the conductor. Now here what happens? Lambda, for uniform charge distribution, lambda will be a constant. For uniform charge distribution, lambda is a constant. This is only for uniform distribution of charges, please. Uniform, per unit length, same amount of charge is distributed. For every centimeter, same charge. Let's say 1 coulomb. So 1 coulomb for 1 centimeter, then another centimeter 1 coulomb, another centimeter 1 coulomb, another. For every 1 centimeter, same amount of charge is being distributed over it. Uniform charge distribution. Right? If it is charged uniformly, then lambda is a constant. So lambda constant, charge purely depends on length. The more the length of the wire, the more the charge it will possess. So lambda is Q by L, right? So lambda of a uniformly charged distribution is a constant. But if non-uniform charge distribution takes place with length, for example, at one end charge is very minute. As you move away, as you move away from this end, the length changes. Maybe the charge distributed may increase or decrease, depends. So if for non-uniform cross section, for non-uniform charge distribution, right, if the charge is not distributed uniformly, in the sense at one place the charge is less, at another place the charge is more. Charge may be distributed as you move away from it, the charge may increase. In such case, lambda is not a constant. Lambda varies. Example, in some of the problems in previous entrance we have come across, there was some problem given as lambda is lambda naught x. In the sense, it is a constant. Lambda naught is a constant. The linear charge density of this rod is directly proportional to distance of the point from the end of the rod. For example, there is a rod like this. So from this end, as you move away x, as x increases, the linear charge density is very non-uniform charge distribution. In the sense, here nearer there is less amount of charge, here there is more amount of charge, there still more, here still more. As you move away, charge distribution is increasing. The amount of charge per unit length is increasing. So linear charge. Sometimes it may be lambda naught by x, maybe decrease, inverse, it may be very inverse. So this way, non-uniform charge distribution may increase with length or decrease with length with respect to the equation that is given. According to that we have to go, right? So whenever there is a non-uniform, in such cases, how do you determine lambda? How do you determine the charge on a conductor? Suppose there is non-uniform charge distribution. Charge is not accumulated uniformly. At one end the charge is less. As you move away, the charge accumulated over the space is changing. It may increase or decrease. It may vary. So there will be an expression for it, right? If it is directly proportional to length, lambda is equal to some kx. Length square, x square, kx square, so on and so forth. So that way the linear charge density, the charge over a length of the rod, charge over a length, linear charge, the charge is distributed. This is for a charged wire, thin charged rod, thin charged glass rod. right? String, charged string. For all such things you can use such type of physical parameter to measure the charge on it. So the first one is linear charge density. Okay. Next let us talk about the charge distribution over a plane. Charge on a plane. We have now studied charge on a line along one dimension. Now what will happen if a charge is distributed in a plane, right? Now this is defined as by the term surface charge density. Surface charge density sigma. Now example. So I am giving charge to a plane sheet, a sheet like this, right? Charged sheet, right, over a plane like this. When it is charged, when I give charge, then charge is distributed over a plane, right? For such things, charge is distributed on a surface. A very good example for this is when you switch on the TV. When you switch on a TV like this, so when it is running, TV is on there, then the charge is accumulated on the surface of the screen. The screen behaves as a plane. So when it is on, all the charge is accumulated on the sheet. So it's a plane sheet, charged sheet where charge is spread on a surface. So whenever charge is distributed over a sheet, plane, then for such bodies we define surface charge density. So there is a sheet like this, a sheet where the charge is uniformly distributed. Charge uniformly distributed. Now what do I mean uniformly distributed? In microscopic level, the charges are placed. If you take elementary charges, let us say electrons or positive ions, whatever, they are equally spaced by micro level, right? Whatever be the distance, they are equally spaced. Where at any point you see the distance between those two micro charges will remain same. So they are continuous, equally uniform. So for such uniformly charged, uniform charge distribution sense, the charges are equal. Non-uniform in the sense, at a place, at a particular area, the charges are very close. Many charges in small space. At some other place, they are a bit far. Non-uniform. So for uniform charge distribution, where the charges are equally spaced like this. Now for this, we define surface charge density. Let the charge on this sheet be Q and the area be A. Then we define surface charge density sigma. It is the amount of charge possessed by a plane per unit area. The amount of charge contained by a sheet, by a surface, right, per unit area. So sigma is charge per unit area. If I substitute A is equal to 1 unit, 1, then sigma is Q. So that is the reason why I define it as it is the amount of charge contained by the surface per unit area. So sigma is Q by A. Surface charge density, surface charge density. So sigma is Q by A. Now how do you measure it? Measure the units. Charge is measured in coulombs, area in meter square. Coulomb per meter square. Or if I take the CGS unit, it is stat coulomb per centimeter square. This is the units for it, right? It is measured in coulomb per meter square or stat coulomb per centimeter square. ESU per centimeter square. Now its dimensional formula again. Dimensional formula, right? It is charge Q is IT and in the denominator it is area L square. So therefore it is numerator IT, area in denominator it is L square. So when this goes up, it is m power 0, L power minus 2, T power 1, I power 1 it is. This is the dimensional formula. Surface charge density like this, right? Surface charge density. Again, this is again a scalar, right? It has no direction, right? Charge is distributed over this, maybe distributed over this or over this. Charge can be given. Suppose if you charge a sheet, if you consider a sheet, charged sheet like this, a charged sheet, then whenever charge is given, if it is a conductor, all the charge is distributed over this side of the sheet and as well as on this side of the sheet. So charge is uniformly distributed over all the space, right? So charge For a conductor, charge is always uniformly distributed. So sigma is equal to, dimensional formula, it's a scalar. So sigma is q by a. Now from this, I can write q is equal to sigma into a. Surface charge density q. Sigma is the surface charge density. For such bodies whose surface charge density is sigma, the charge q accumulated on it per unit per an area. So q is sigma into a. Right? Now, for uniform charge distribution, I was telling you uniform where the charges are equally spaced. For uniform charge distribution, sigma remains constant. So therefore, when sigma is constant, q directly proportional to area. q1 by q2 is equal to a1 by a2. It's directly proportional to area for sigma being constant. Uniform charge distribution. If it is non-uniform charge distribution, if the distribution is non-uniform, in the sense at one place the more charge is accumulated, at the other place the less charge is accumulated. The charge distribution is different. So then in such a case, then sigma not a constant. It varies, it's not a constant. So you cannot directly use this. All the charge cannot be simply calculated as, it's not proportional to area. You have to take up integration method to find such type of things there. So whenever the charge is distributed over a surface, sheet, a glass sheet for example, right? Whenever you rub a sheet, glass surface, all the charge is produced on a sheet. Charge spread on a plane. Then for such bodies, then surface charge density, we define surface charge density. What are the examples? Surface charge density, charge distributed over a surface plane. You can observe this in a charged sheet, a plate, a metal plate, charged conducting metal plate. Whenever it is charged, charge is accumulated on this side and this side. Between the capacitor plate, if you consider a capacitor, charge is accumulated on the surface, right? For this we define surface charge density. Charged disk, when you consider a charged disk, the disk surface charge is distributed on the circle, over the area of the circle, charge disk. Even if you consider a charged spherical shell, it's a shell, hollow sphere. For an hollow sphere, when I give charge is spread only on the surface of the shell. There is no charge inside, there is no matter inside. So charge spread only on the surface. For this also we define surface charge density, sigma, right? So charge spread over a plane, sheet, example a TV screen or a glass sheet, charge spread on a glass sheet, right? A plastic sheet, whenever you rub, there is charge spread over it. So on a sheet, when charge is spread, we define surface charge density. Sigma is q by a. What is the charge? If sigma is constant, charge q will be sigma into a. For non-uniform charge distribution, sigma is not a constant. It varies, right? So the second one is surface charge density. The third and the most important, a bit difficult, this is volume charge density. Now what if charge is distributed over a volume inside the matter also? Charge distribution even inside, right? Volume distribution of charge. So earlier linear charge is now distributed over a line, only one dimension. Second, charged sheet, charge distributed over a sheet, only two dimension, x, y, in a plane. Now here we consider charge distributed throughout the matter. If I consider this charge being distributed even inside, outside, everywhere there is charge distributed. Then in such cases, how do you define? Now for such things we define a term called volume charge density. We define a term volume charge density rho. Third one, volume charge density. Now in this case, charge now given to a body is now charge is spread throughout the matter, inside, outside, surface, everywhere charge is spread, charge is distributed in all parts of the bodies. In such case, we define volume charge density. Example is a non-conducting solid sphere. there is a solid sphere, non-conducting, dielectric, non-conducting, insulating. These are the terms being used. An insulating solid sphere, non-conducting solid sphere, dielectric solid sphere, where charge is spread even inside. There is charge inside the conductor. Actually, in an insulator, charge remains at the place where the charge is being produced. Wherever you produce, charge exists at that point only. So there is charge being distributed throughout the volume of this. Charge distributed throughout the volume on the surface, whereas inside the body also, for such bodies. Then we define a term called volume charge density rho. So this is, rho is defined as the amount of charge. Now the charge is distributed, accumulated is now spread in a volume. In linear charge, charge is spread over a length. So we cannot define volume and area. So I say charge per length, lambda Q by L. Now in second case, charge was spread in a plane, area, only in a area, length into breadth. No third dimension. So I was defining charge per unit area. No volume there. But here charge is spread over all the dimensions, in all directions charge is spread. Then in a limited boundary, this way. For these things, first example is in dielectric non-conducting sphere, solid sphere, where charge is distributed inside the volume as well as on the surface. Or you can even take the nucleus of an atom. If you consider the nucleus of an atom existing at the center of the atom, the protons are distributed inside. Proton, neutrons both live together, embedded together like this, and they are distributed throughout the volume, inside to outside. This nucleus behaves like a sphere, it behaves like a liquid drop. So there is charge even inside and outside. Now for such charge distributions, we define volume charge density rho. So what is volume charge density? It is charge per unit volume. The quantity of charge that is being accumulated, the quantity of charge, amount of charge which is accumulated within a unit volume. So Q by V, charge per unit volume. For unit 1 centimeter cube, what is the charge? Or 1 meter cube, what is the charge? So volume charge density rho is equal to Q by V, right? So rho, it is the amount of charge per unit volume. If I consider 1 unit volume, 1 meter cube, 1 it is, then rho is equal to Q. So volume charge density is defined as the amount of charge that is contained in unit volume of the unit volume of that body. So rho is Q by V. How do you measure it? It is coulomb per meter cube. Charge is coulombs, volume is meter cube. SI unit. CGS, it is stat coulomb per centimeter cube, or ESU per centimeter cube. So these are the units for it. How about the dimensional formula? Rho. Charge is IT by volume is L cube. Volume, we know, length, breadth into volume, height. So L cube it is. So simplifying, it is m power 0, L power minus 3 time T power 1, I power 1 it is. This is the dimensional formula of flow. Volume charge density rho. It's m power 0, L power minus 3, T power 1, I power 1. And again, this is a scalar. Charge is being spread. Charge is a scalar quantity. It is spread over a volume, contained in a volume. Even if you consider nucleus, inside the nucleus, a proton here, another proton with some neutrons in between, maybe. So protons accumulated throughout the volume. For such bodies, we define volume charge density rho. So therefore, rho is equal to Q by V. Cross multiplying, what is the amount of charge contained in a volume V? Rho is Q is rho into V. So again we consider, if I imagine a uniform charge distribution in volume like this, then that is, the charges are equally spaced. Inside the nucleus, the protons are also equally spaced around within the nucleus inside the volume. Then for all such, rho is a constant. If rho is a constant, then Q directly proportional to volume. So more the volume, more the charge, less the volume, less the charge. Q1 by Q2 is V1 by V2. Q1 by Q2, V1 by V2 like this. right? So for uniform charge distribution, rho is a constant, q directly proportional to v like this. But for non-uniform charges, if I consider non-uniform charges, rho does not remain constant. Rho is different. Maybe charge actually inside the nucleus, rho is not a constant. More charge is accumulated at the center. As you move away, the density of charge changes. So if rho is not a constant, so I cannot take directly proportional. We have to integrate, find the amount of charge. Right? But for example, as an example, you can consider charge distribution in a volume. You can consider a nucleus and a solid non-conducting solid sphere. In nucleus, charge is not uniform. It's not uniform charge distribution, right? So if it is not a constant, okay, thank you.